I don't want to
What's
be
up,
here
everybody?
anymore.
Welcome back to Marvel Revisited, the show where we rewatch, rank, and geek out over every MCU movie in order. Of course, I am your host, the Orig. I am joined, of course, here by the man who is great at standing still, Nate Camacho, and the man who is always late to everything, who we were waiting for 2 hours, practically, not 2 hours.
2
He's
hours.
an hour and a half. We were waiting an hour and a half. He said he'd be here at 7. It's 8:20 right now.
Okay, I
So,
got here at 8:11, so don't even start with that lie.
No, the audience should know how inconsistent Daniel Escarcega is to being at any of these. So,
now just imagine if I
the
actually
record
get any
shows.
Just imagine I actually make music, I get it
Anyways,
to work, and I'm still an hour late.
we're gonna move on. Danny has no right to defend himself at all, and he froze.
Bro, if you could see my Discord, because he froze, it's just him doing this. Just back and forth, then back and forth, then back and forth, then back and forth.
I love it. He's coming back, hopefully. Anyways, today we are reviewing Iron Man 2. Chink, chink.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Ching ching.
What is this, Law and Order? Dun, dun.
Can you see Danny's camera?
No, nobody can see Danny's camera.
Okay.
Danny can't even see Danny's camera.
All right. So anyways, we're just gonna plow through this. So for the audience should know we did already record half this podcast.
Maybe I'll sprinkle in tidbits from that.
It's our second time.
But we only have tidbits from the
it.
first 12 minutes. God damn it.
Oh, that's right. No, we have the audio though of the episode.
Oh yeah, I'll just like
matter.
edit everything you say.
It's just you just like cover it up, and it's just the audio of me from the other one. All right. So we're gonna go through this. We already did talk about this. So we might say from the last recording a lot, but Nate, let's start with you. How many times have you seen Iron Man 2, and did anything change? Rewatching it.
A bunch of times. I realized that Tony Stark was this is his height of Tony Stark's jerkness. Is this movie. And I do believe that Whiplash is marginally underrated. Just a teeny tiny bit. Just a teeny tiny bit.
All right. Danny, how many times have you seen Iron Man 2, and did anything change rewatching it?
I believe this is the 5th time of me watching Iron Man 2, and nothing really changed about it. Like, of course, this is the beginning steps of the Marvel universe, but it's not a great Marvel universe. It's really good. It's a good movie. It's just not really like, oh my god, like I need to see this movie again. It's just like, meh, it's a movie. It's, it gives us more in that style of Tony. Not Iron Man, but Tony.
Okay. Interesting. I saw this. I think this is about the 6th time I've seen this movie. I did not watch it in theaters, unfortunately. That I remember, at least. And yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was okay. It's definitely not my favorite MCU movie. It's definitely not my least liked Marvel movie, I guess you should say. But yeah, I'm intrigued to get into the nitty gritty of it. Iron Man 2, of course, did release in 2010. Let me see if I can find the exact date. Yes, May 7th, 2010
Man,
is
that's
when it was
crazy,
released in
bro.
theaters. And it had a budget of 200 million, box office of 620,
Dude,
pretty much it's $23.9 million.
of Avengers only came out 2 years after this movie.
What?
Ain't that whack?
Whoa.
Am I wrong? Isn't Avengers
I think you're
2012?
wrong.
Let's see.
Hold on.
Let's
That
see.
doesn't sound right by any means.
It's
Avengers
probably like
came out.
I bet Iron Man 2 came out like summer of 2010 and Avengers came out
2012.
Yeah, dude. 2 years,
Holy
bro.
crap. Holy crap. That is crazy.
Whack, bro.
We got bombarded with Marvel movies.
Dude, God. How many
Because
came out this
Iron
year
Man-
alone? Or 2021? We got Spider-Man, we got Shang-Chi, we got Black Widow.
Eternals.
That one.
Yep.
Holy crap.
Let's see. Iron Man. Oh, it's because Captain America and Thor came out the same year as well. That's
Yeah.
Just want to get the
like,
riffraff out of the way.
Once you actually think about it, it is kind of impressive to see how Marvel like fits all these
Whips
movies
them
in
out.
here, and you feel like it's years apart, but it's like a few months apart.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Of course, directed by Jon Favreau as well. And I think this is the last one directed by Jon Favreau, right?
Yeah, last in the MCU.
Yeah. Obviously, he continues his character of Happy
Didn't he
Hogan.
didn't he do Iron Man 3? Look
He
it up real
did
quick.
Spider-Man, didn't he?
He did not do a Spider-Man.
No, it's Shane Black was the director
Cool.
for Iron Man 3. So yeah, this is Jon Favreau's last Marvel movie that he directed. Obviously, I think he also had a lot of creative guidance for a lot of the other directors or everybody
he set the tone.
yeah, he set the tone for in the first 2 Iron Man. But let's get into ranking things. You know, I when we recorded the last episode, I kind of want to mix these rankings around. So I think we should start with the importance to the MCU. So, Nate, what do you think? Where should we rank Iron Man 2 in importance to MCU, and why?
I think it's over. I think it's at the current top. It's above Iron Man and Hulk because it just opens up so much stuff. You know, it like opens up Shield. It brings back Agent Coulson. Brings back Nick Fury. They talk about Avengers Initiative. It brings in Black Widow. So it brings in War Machine. So it really, really like blows open this cinematic universe. You know, Iron Man 1 laid the foundation. Hulk had a sprinkle, just one single sprinkle. And then this one just blows the top off it. And like it doesn't necessarily show you everything, although it does show you a decent amount, but it shows you like this is a huge world that we want to explore.
Yeah, for sure. Danny, where do you think this should be ranked in the importance to the MCU?
So, honestly, besides the whole, introducing War Machine, introducing Shield into this, besides that, it didn't really do much for Tony's arc. It didn't really do much for anything else MCU related. So, besides those characters that it introduces in the Shield organization and just, general things that the Marvel Universe is now known for, I don't really see the importance of this movie much. At the time, it was connecting pieces. But right now, it's more like, yeah, you're one of many connecting pieces. So it's not that big in my view. Besides the end credit scene, it doesn't really introduce much.
I disagree, Danny.
Yeah.
I feel like you're like, oh yeah, it does all these things, but other than that, it doesn't do anything. It's all like, well, yeah, but it does all those things. You know, it
And
does
also,
introduce.
how weird would future movies be if this movie wasn't here?
Exactly. This is where we met Black Widow, who becomes, an Avenger, a huge integral part to the MCU. We get to actually see Nick Fury in it because he just had a tiny bit of screen time before. So we get now revealed to the character. And like I was thinking about it while I was watching it, I was like, is this Skrull Nick Fury or is this real Nick Fury? Something to think about. And then we get Agent Coulson. We actually get introduced to that character this time, and he's like, not just like, hey, here's a card kind of thing. And they're not just like, we actually get to see a little more of him. And then of course we get War Machine and
Yeah, is Agent Coulson, he's in Iron Man 1, he's in Iron Man 2. He's in Thor for a second, right?
Oh yeah, he's in Thor a little bit, yeah, very briefly.
But like his death would mean virtually nothing. His death would mean virtually nothing without this movie. And that's supposed to be one of the galvanizing moments for the Avengers in that movie.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, I totally think as of now, this is the most important to the MCU because, like Nate said, I completely agree that the first Iron Man, set the tone for everything, but this really blew it open and be like, no, there is a whole universe here. It's not just 1-2 movies connected. This is a full thing. But what did you guys think of Mickey Rourke's Whiplash / Ivan? What is his last name?
Ivan the Terrible. Ivan Vanko?
Yes, Vanko. Yes. What do you guys think of the villain in this movie? Where should we rank the villain?
Again, I think he's at the top. He doesn't have too much competition. Obviously Abomination's kind of weak. He gets a mediocre fight at the end of his movie, but and not that Ivan Vanko's Whiplash has like an amazing fight scene in this film, but I think his acting is pretty solid. It's really close with Obadiah's. I do think Jeff Bridges does have a better performance, but I think Ivan Vanko has way more to do here. Like you don't really see Obadiah as a bad guy until like literally the last act of the movie, which is a cool fight scene, but it is short. But in this one, you get the 2 fight scenes. You get to see his character way more interacting with Justin Hammer, interacting with Tony. Like that whole conversation that they had in the Monaco prison was like, it's cool. Like, I don't know if they meant to do it, but like his whole line about, I just had to make you bleed and now the sharks are coming because there's blood in the water. It's like, that is such an awesome foreshadowing for like the entire first 3 phases, basically. And he's the one that did that, And I'm not saying, all those other villains exist because Tony or because Ivan Vanko made Tony Stark bleed, but still, it's cool. It's a cool story beat. And then also, a small negative, which I guess at the time isn't a negative because it's the first movie to do it, but he's one of the many villains where it's like, the Stark family is the worst, so I'm gonna go kill people because the Stark family is the worst.
Yeah. I'd agree with you that, and also that kind of adds to the importance of the MCU because this is the first time that anyone's like, wait, that because in the MCU at this point, Iron Man is the only publicly confirmed superhero, that we know of in this universe so far. And this is the first guy to go and be like, no, he's not invincible. I almost beat him, he can be hurt. So that affects the whole MCU as a whole.
I beat him in a cave with a box of scraps. I almost beat him.
Kind of, yeah. And I'm going to segue real quick to Marvelous Facts.
Marvelous Facts? What is that, Winnie?
So we like to throw in some fun facts about either the film, characters, actors, anything of that sort. And it's interesting because Mickey Rourke actually complained that many of his scenes were cut, especially scenes that provided more character development for Ivan Vanko, which is interesting. I don't know how much it actually would have helped.
I think it would have.
It probably would have.
Yeah, I guess so.
This was in the time when like your movie's 2 hours and that's it. Go home.
Exactly. We were at the time in 2010. We were dealing with much different,
Tones for
Ty-
movies.
yeah, much different types of superhero movies back then. Now the bar for superhero movies is super high, and you better get that character right. You better have a good production. You better make things look right. You better have a good story on your hands. Because because the MCU has put that standard on things.
I'm a segue from what he just said. Do you guys remember a movie called what's it called? Firefly Man or something like that? It was with
No.
Drake Bell. It was
Oh
a
God.
knockoff of Spider-Man.
Yeah, I
And
remember
that
that crap.
movie apparently got like it
It's
didn't get great reviews. It was like oh my god, like this is a great superhero movie. And now when you look back at it, it's like, why did they make that movie?
Yeah.
Like
I
if
think
you
it's
think about it
supposed to
now,
be a parody movie.
it
But I
is a
think
parody
even
movie.
as a parody, it's freaking garbaggio. I'll throw it up in the edit. It's disgusting.
Yeah. Yes, please do. But yes, from what Winnie just said, like that's like one of many
Yeah, it's like
examples of how
that.
superhero movies
Spider-Man
came.
3. It's like it's not that many amazing superhero movies at this time,
Mhm.
Spider-Man 3 was amazing.
other than Batman.
And Batman sucked.
Another quick marvelous fact is a lot of Whiplash identifying features were suggested by Mickey Rourke. He wanted to perform half of his role in Russian and consulted on the character's tattoos and gold teeth, as well as having a pet cockatoo. I want my bird.
I want my bird.
In
That
fact,
is my
Rourke-
bird. This is not my bird, man.
In fact, Rourke paid for the bird and the gold teeth out of his own pocket. That's
I
an
love it,
interesting-
bro. That's so
interesting-
cool.
Yeah.
So
Because
that was his bird.
it's like he's not
It
a
was his bird.
it's
I want my bird.
not a super memorable villain, but like imagine how much less memorable he would be if he looked that much plainer.
Yep.
And like everybody remembers the bird, like if you talk to somebody about like, hey, you remember the bad guy for Iron Man 2? They're like, yeah, it's the whip dude. And then
Who
like
has a bird?
Yeah, who has a bird.
That's pretty much his identifying features. I guess in that sense, it would have been interesting to see more because it's obvious that the actor really cared for this character. So he probably put a lot of passion into it, and
It shows, man.
it shows somewhat. I don't think it shows a lot, which is kind of a shame.
And it's very unfortunate that during the time of this these movies being created, you have those actors that are like, man, I'm like, this is such an amazing thing to do. Like, yeah, like I'm so for it. And now you still have some of those actors, but then there's those other ones that are like, nah, this is just a role. It's whatever. And you can see that throughout how like the Marvel universe has expanded from that point. And he was one of those like, man, like I want to give it my all. And unfortunately, we don't get to see him do his all.
Honestly, Danny, I think I kind of disagree. I think back then there was a lot of people, since the superhero universe or superhero genre didn't make as much money. So I think the people who were in it were more passionate about these characters. But now I feel like there's some actors that come in it just for a paycheck because there's so much money in it. And that's where I think the difference is. But you're partially correct. I would agree.
Well, it's also just like there's some
actors.
actors that are talented enough that can just come in for a job and still freaking knock it out of the park.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Anyways, kind of off topic. Danny. Well,
Winnie.
wait, Nate, where did you rank?
At the top.
At the top. A top.
Mhm.
Okay. Danny, where would you rank the villain?
I'd have to rate him at the top right now. And I'm very disappointed at that because honestly, I feel like they should have done so much of a better job with Abomination, and he would have been on top if they actually cared about it. Because he is actually a good villain in the comics, but when you look at how Marvel was doing it, it's like you sugarcoat a bunch of things. And
It was on
Vanko,
Universal.
yeah. Ivan Vanko, like he's a good villain. He's
He's okay.
for these
You
movies
get by.
now. He's
Honestly,
top 3.
the main flaw is that his fight scenes suck.
Yep.
It's really
Yep.
his
Yeah.
main flaw.
And
Because
speaking of his fight scenes, real quick. So while filming the fight scene in Monaco, Mickey Rourke couldn't get the hang of the whips. So they played Gnarls Barkley's Crazy loudly for him to get the rhythm of it. But he also did like a whole bunch of workouts before the filming of it to actually like carry the vest and everything because it was all real metal. And it was like, I think like
Damn.
60 pounds
That's
or something like that.
insane.
So he did his effort, but it's like he still couldn't.
Yeah, it's bad production. There's no reason
Yeah.
those that needed to be that heavy.
Yep. Yeah. But
they wanted to be realistic, man. They wanted to be realistic.
in the last recording of it, I put the comparison. I liked that, Mickey Rourke's character, is the side of Tony that is the genius, but he doesn't have the charisma or the funds, the resources that Tony has. So he's that side of Tony. He's the villain of that side. But and then we see the freaking other dude.
Obadiah?
What is it? No, Justin Hammer. We see Justin Hammer, and Justin Hammer is the other side of that coin, where he's all the charisma and he has all the resources, but he doesn't have the intelligence that Tony Stark has. And even though, yes, Justin Hammer, it's arguable that he's even a villain, but he was out for Tony. He didn't necessarily kill a whole. No, did he kill people?
He told the security guards
to kill
to
people.
get the
You told
bird out of
people
his
to kill
lap.
people.
Yeah,
That's a
So
villain. You tell people to kill people, you're a
That's a
villain.
villain.
yeah.
That's
yeah.
Kingpin, dude.
But
Half a Kingpin is that.
All of Kingpin is that.
Nah, he kills some people himself.
yeah, he
Yeah,
gets his
There's that one Russian dude at the door.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. He goes at the top. The other Obadiah, he's all right.
Obadiah would be
he's-
higher if he had more time.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I don't think it's the actor at all. The actor played his role very well in that movie. It was just, I don't think the story was quite there. And I think I mentioned it in the original Iron Man, but and I'll talk about it probably more in the Iron Man 3 one because it makes more sense in that film. But I think there was so much great potential, especially in Iron Man 3, to actually bring Obadiah's
Son.
Obadiah Stane's son in the fold, so it would be like his legacy coming back and going after Tony as well. I think that would have made perfect sense, but unfortunately they didn't go that route. But I think he's obviously at the top. So we are just ranking Whiplash / Ivan Vanko. Justin Hammer we're not counting him as a villain because he was such a side character in this movie.
Told him to grab the bird, man. He told him to grab the bird.
Bird.
I want my bird.
And also, I want to do a quick shout out, right? In that one scene where Justin Hammer comes into the room
That's right.
and everything, and he's all like, oh, he's all pissed. And he's like, take the man's shoe. Take his bird. Oh, now you like the bird, huh? And just like he's trying to like intimidate Ivan Vanko, and this dude was in Russian prison for 15 years. You think he gives a crap about someone like you? Like, you are not intimidating at all to this man.
And the most magical thing about that is that they're seeing that they're taking off like 5-cent shoes. I was like, oh man, yeah, you don't like it when we take your stuff. I was like, well, I just found these on the side of the street, so
Yeah, right.
I didn't have anything when I got here.
While we're speaking about Justin Hammer, this was a really cool fact that we didn't mention last time. Hammer's factory is really Elon Musk's SpaceX facility in
Seriously?
Hawthorne, California. The people
so
walking in the background are actual
that-
employees, even though filming took place at night.
That's how the deal worked out. It's like, okay, Elon Musk, we'll let you in as a little cameo on this dumb scene in Monaco, but we want to film in your factory.
Yep. That was really interesting. That was pretty cool.
Was he even starting production of Tesla during that time, or was it just pure SpaceX?
They weren't out yet. but they
No,
were working
but
on
he
it.
started like ideas on it in 2008.
Yeah, they already had prototypes for the Roadster and everything like that.
I think the
They
Roadster
probably
was
had-
out already.
Oh, wasn't? Okay.
This man been making moves since 2011, guys.
Oh yeah. Probably.
No, wait, 2010.
You know
guys.
that he's one of the founders of Amazon, not Amazon, PayPal, right?
I did not know that.
I didn't
actually.
know that even.
Well,
Yeah.
now you know.
PayPal?
Yeah.
God damn.
Okay, here's one that I love to talk about.
Oh God.
Let's rank the Iron
Disgusting.
Man costumes,
I don't
or
wanna
just the
be
costumes
here.
in general.
Let's rank it. Let's rank it.
So we already did this one, and Nate got outvoted, and it's gonna happen again.
Disgustingly.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Disgustingly.
Disappointed
So-
sense.
Let's break it down the way we did. All right. So it's Mark 1, which is cave.
No,
Cave Iron Man
Winston.
suit.
This is how. All right, quiet you. You're already messing it up. Okay. This is how it works, audience. Cave Boy. You already know which one I'm talking about. Okay. Dome Chrome Dome. You already know which one I'm talking about. Mark 3. Okay, Mark 3 is Mark 3. Everybody knows Mark 3. Mark 3 is the shiz. Mark 3 is the one and only. Forever, the past and future king. Freaking Triangle Dumb Boy.
No, that's not Mark 4.
No, I didn't say Mark 4, but Triangle Dumb Boy. And then the last one is Suitcase
5.
Boy. Okay? That's all of them.
Yeah. Okay. So
You will
we are
refer to them
ranking-
as such,
Whoa,
Winston.
we're
whoa,
ranking
whoa,
2
wait,
Iron Man suits.
wait. So this is just purely Iron Man suits. We're not putting War Machine
We
into
can
this, right?
throw War Machine in
Yeah,
at the
we
end.
throw War
At the
Machine
end.
in there.
At the
Okay.
end.
Okay. Just gonna confuse things, but okay.
So let's start it off with Nate. Nate, where do you think Mark 4 and 5, or Briefcase and Triangle Dumb Boy, should be?
So that's top. Past and Future King. Mark 3. The one and only.
Okay.
Shout out in the comments if you agree with me. I need the backup. In second place, Chrome Dome. Chrome Dome's still pretty dope. I like Chrome
Wow,
Dome.
Okay. All right.
In third place, Suitcase Boy, because it's pretty dope. The suit up scene is pretty dope. Not gonna lie. All the freaking little chinky chinks I'm not into. Looks like a
The
transformer.
Chinky Chinks, man.
It's okay.
Love them.
Freaking triangle Whack-A-Mosaurus ruined my whole aesthetic with your dumbass triangle in the middle of my suit. Is freaking second last spot.
Aesthetic.
And then freaking Cave Boys at the end, just because Cave Boys meh.
Ah, God, I love it. I love Nate's biases.
You and your stupid triangles, bro. Oh my
I'm
god.
gonna get him so pissed
Oh
right now.
man! All right,
I'm
all
gonna
right.
get
Let's ruin Nate's day. Danny, where would you rank the Iron Man, or the suits that we're ranking right now?
All right. The way that I'm gonna rank this top spot for right now is the Suitcase Boy. Right
Nice.
below that, I'm gonna have to bring out my Roman Pierce, Chrome Boy. Right below that, Triangle Boy. Below that, Cave Boy, and then below that, the Mark III suit.
What? You're full of
Whoa.
crap,
Just-
dude. You're just
Just piss
crazy.
Nate off.
now.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
no. His real list is Suitcase, Chrome Dome, Triangle, Mark III, Cave. That's his real list.
Yes.
So I like, okay, so I remember even watching the previews for this movie, and they had the, and you know, when he's in the race suit and it's all
I
for
remember
the
that.
briefcase. Oh man, such a cool scene. And I love the nice chrome with the bright red. Oh, I love it. It might be my favorite Iron Man suit of all time. So I love that suit. That suit is so cool.
These are
And it's so,
crazy.
like, I wish it was more powerful, because there's so many mechanical parts in it. It just looks awesome. So Briefcase Boy, right at the top. Holy crap, so cool.
And
In
with
second
that, Nate
spot?
outvoted.
In second spot, Dumb Triangle Boy. Like, I love that one, man. Like, the little triangle, I think it's way cooler than the circle. I'm just saying, all right? It's so much more angular and, like, fierce and intimidating. The triangle, man.
A triangle?
Triangle.
In what universe is a triangle intimidating? When the hell
It's
have you
angular, it's
seen
sharp,
a
it's
triangle and been
'Cause
intimidated?
it's always on edge, man. When you think of a
Yes, it's
circle,
on
you think
Oh
of
my
fluffy.
god.
You could shave. You could shave with that triangle, man. All right, circle. You can't do anything with a circle, all right?
Dude, the circle, it's like, oh, you know what comes out of the
That was the
circle?
weirdest.
A freaking energy beam that will burn through the center of the earth. That's what comes out of a
You can do that
circle.
with, you can do that with the triangle too.
Yeah, but you don't see the triangle and assume, oh, an energy beam comes out of that. You see the triangle and think, oh, I guess they couldn't afford more angles.
And that's more intimidating. That's more intimidating. It's like,
Okay.
there's nothing going to come
All
out of
right.
there.
All right. Anyways, that's my and then it's Mark 3,
Mhm.
then it's Chrome Dome, and then it's Mark 1. Or Cave Boy. So that means briefcase is at the top. And then what goes in the second place?
Guys, and your freaking
Dome.
gimmick. You're putting a
Chrome-
gimmick at number 1. Oh my god.
What goes in second
Good
space?
game.
What goes in
Triangle
second
boy.
space? Is it triangle?
No.
Yes.
Didn't-
Guys, you both ranked the suitcase and the triangle 1 and 2.
No, I voted Chrome Boy 2.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
but Chrome
right.
Dome for me is like
3.
6.
Oh yeah, nice. So Chrome Boy's in second place because I put Chrome Boy in second place.
Okay, so it's briefcase, Chrome Dome, then triangle,
Oh my god.
and then Mark 3, and then Mark 1. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You guys are insane, man.
There's a lot of things that I'm sorry for. That's not one of them.
Oh, man.
A gimmick.
I love how it came an hour late and I'm still disappointing Nate.
Well,
Hey, babe.
Jesus, there we go.
In Ironman 1 and Ironman 2, what's your favorite one?
You're not gonna get her to side with you on the suits. He's gonna get pissed in 2 seconds. Give him a minute.
The old one? All right, Kill's crazy.
She says Mark 1?
She said suitcase number 1 and Mark 1 number 2.
Whoa.
Oh,
See,
baby,
dude,
it's
suitcase.
cool, man.
It's
Glad you
awesome.
like it.
Suitcase is so cool, man.
It's a freaking gimmick. There's a reason it never shows up again, dude. Think about this. Which one is the most influential? Freaking
It
doesn't
Mark
matter.
3,
It doesn't
dude.
matter what's
not
more
Mark
influential.
Dude,
You're
it's-
right. You're right. Mark 3 is more influential, but I love the design and the look of the briefcase. That's why it's number 1, man.
Then why
It's not
doesn't
about
it ever come
influential.
back,
That's why it's
Winston?
pussy.
Why doesn't it ever come back?
It's
Because
not
it's
about
not
that.
that
It's about which one
cool.
looks cool and which one. Yeah, it's about which one looks the coolest to me. That's how I'm ranking these costumes.
God, how do I freaking
Costume is
like,
about the way it looks. It's not about influential.
how do I freaking it doesn't matter. You guys are just disgusting. Just makes no sense. Makes no sense.
By extent, you called your wife disgusting because she also voted with us. Just saying.
Which one? What's your favorite Iron Man suit from 1 and 2?
It does come back, dude. In Iron Man 3, we see the return of the triangle.
Mark 3, the one with the circle?
Multiple times, actually.
That's your favorite out of 1 and 2. What would you put in your second spot? Well, my wife takes your side, Nate.
Yeah, because
She
she's
says,
a freaking person of taste and
that's very
culture.
stupid.
There's
she
a
says you're
reason.
person of class.
There's a reason.
There's a reason
Culture.
you guys are
I literally
outvoted.
never said class, but there's a reason the triangle never comes back. There's a reason the suitcase
The
never
triangle
comes
does
back.
come
The
back.
triangle comes back in
No, dude,
multiple
it comes
occasions,
back in
man.
Avenger, and you know what it gets replaced with, Winston? A circle, as all things should
No.
be.
No. On
No,
Iron
he's
Man
right.
3, he goes back with the triangle.
No, he doesn't. Are you high?
Yeah, he does. I'm not high. I'm looking at her.
Okay. All right. Well, that's enough of the suits. It doesn't matter. The ranking is the ranking. Let the record show.
That Nate lost dramatically.
What about CGI? What do you think of the CGI in this movie?
It's really good. It's really good. Everything looks good. You can the suit the suitcase suit ages a teeny tiny bit, just a teeny tiny bit. Honestly, I don't even know if it ages because they still have those mistakes today. It's just not as perfectly realistic, photoreal as it could be, but it still looks great.
Yeah, I think it looks
Yeah, it looks great though.
So where would you rank it though?
It's behind one. One is just
So
that
it's-
perfect blend of like
Yep.
practical and not practical. It like just looks deluxe.
Mm-hmm. So it's Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Danny, what do you think of CGI?
I'm gonna have to go with Nate in this one. With Iron Man 1 being the best at it, and then Iron Man 2. Because even at, how old was I? 8 years old when The Incredible Hulk came out? Even being like 10 years old, like you could tell like how bad that CGI was.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna have to agree with him. 1, 2, Hulk.
Yeah. It's unanimous. I completely agree as well. I think there was at one point where I was like, oh, the robots kind of move a little weird, but nah, there's nothing distracting in this movie at all. But yeah, Iron Man, the original Iron Man, I have to give it more props just because that's the only one that actually had a physical Iron Man suit, and that's just so much more admirable. And they
Dude,
blended
what are
it
you talking
perfect.
about? The whole party scene is physical Iron Man suits.
Not completely. It's only the tops.
I guess, dude, but could you even
Iron Man
tell?
No, you couldn't tell, but I'm just like, just the fact that they, in the first one, they had the full Iron Man suit and they didn't ever bring that back again. There's a probably reason why they didn't bring it back again. But
Because it's
I think,
heavy as hell.
exactly. But I just, I liked,
There is no triangle in Iron Man 3.
If I show it to you, I'm looking at what it got.
I think he's right, Danny. I think he's right. Anyways.
There are triangular shapes, but there are no perfect triangles.
Oh my god. Nate,
Anyways.
slap you in the face.
So yeah, that's the ranking. Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk with CGI.
And Mark 3 at the bottom of the lips of suits. Okay, Nate?
Guys are freaking high, man.
What'd you think of the soundtrack?
It's pretty good. I think it's almost as good as the first one. Yeah.
For me, the soundtrack this time was really dull for me. I don't know why. I'd say Iron Man 1 had probably the most like this is getting me pumped. And
Yeah.
Iron Man 2, like you could feel how that vibe was totally different. So of course that wasn't the same kind of energy, and I think that's just why for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Word.
So you guys are placing Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, and then Incredible Hulk?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'd agree as well. I think, there's just, I can only remember, like, I don't know. For me, soundtracks most of the time blend in the background unless they're incredibly memorable. So this one was kind of did the same. I realized that at the very beginning scene where he comes down and it's at the Expo, that they are playing an AC/DC song, but it wasn't Back in Black like they did in Iron Man 1. It was some other song. I didn't
I think it's
recognize it.
Thunderstruck, isn't it?
No, it wasn't Thunderstruck. It was something else. But so I'm like, that's cool that they're not using the same song over and over. That's kind of cool, but it's still AC/DC, which matches his tone. His what he always uses.
Motif.
Yeah, his motif. Yeah. But in the first one, there was just that one scene where he's going up in the air, and it's right before he encounters the jets, and it's like it's the AC/DC, and it just hits so hard, and it's awesome. You're just like, man, this is cool. And I don't think that this movie had that kind of moment in it, where you're just like, man, this is so cool. So, like even the song that they use when they're fighting, like it just didn't hit quite as hard. So I think that you're right. Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, and then the Incredible Hulk for that for soundtrack. Let's I'm gonna before we segue into RDJ performances, I wanted to do a few quick more marvelous facts. So Robert Downey Jr. actually gained 20 pounds of muscle.
Told you.
This.
You
So
can
Nate
tell.
thinks that he looks the best in this movie.
Thick boy.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because he's all oiled up and he's greasy and he's dirty in the first one. But it's just like, man, when he's like, bah, in the first one and he's creating the Mark 1, it's just like something about it. I was like, man, he looks good in the first one. In this one, sure, he's got the wrench and everything and he's trying to keep it stable, but it's just like, he never looked like quite as impressive to me in this one for some reason. It's the wife beater. It's probably the wife beater. But
You guys heard it here first. Winnie loves wife beaters.
hey, just it hits the right spot, you know. Oh God,
Your wife.
Jesus.
Domestic abuse jokes.
Yes, love him. Gotta love him.
You idiot.
Jesus. But anyways, on
This is
that,
like a serious conversation.
what do you guys? Where should we rank the Robert Downey Jr. performance in this movie?
It's more cartoony, so I think it's behind one still. One has some really real feeling moments, and this one does, especially with the dad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely more cartoony, so it's just a little bit behind Iron Man 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, just really quickly before I tell you guys, that water bottle that Winston's drinking out of is actually mine that he grabbed after my car crash. But moving on from that.
Just so you
How
guys
late were you,
remember,
Danny? How late were
was
you,
an
Danny?
hour and a half late.
Exactly.
Danny, is that why you're so dehydrated all the time?
That's why I
drink-
drink out of a little cup.
Go drink some water.
I can't.
All right, Danny, where would you rank the Robert Downey Jr. performance?
Honestly, guys, I like this performance a little more than I did in the first Iron Man, but more just because of it being more accurate towards Tony's character whenever he falls down that depressive hole. Because in Iron Man 1, we see him become Tony Stark and become Iron Man. But in this one, we're seeing more of that Tony Stark. Like, if he has nothing, like if he knows that he's about to like lose it all, he goes into that stage of like, you know what, like I'm just gonna live me. I'm just gonna do me. I'm just gonna live my
be a
life.
jerk and just
Mm-hmm.
And you know what, I understand that part of like, you know what, it seems like he's actually being a jerk, and there are a lot of scenes where he is a jerk, but then there's also a lot of scenes where it's like, I understand, like, because he even asked, I was about to call her Natalie. He asked Natasha, like, if this was your last birthday ever, like, what would you do? She'd be like, whatever I want to do, whoever I want to do it with. And you can tell that actually like meant a lot more to his character, seeing the position he was in. And you know, I don't know, this one hit more of like, okay, like you're actually getting in depth with this character.
So you would rank 2 above first one?
Yes, slightly, but yes.
Okay, interesting. For me, I think it's real close. It's real close, but I think I have to agree with Nate. I think the first one is just a little bit more. I think. What did you say? I didn't hear you.
just copying Wood's daddy.
I'm pretty sure he mouthed, "I'm better."
No, no.
No,
You said I have to agree with Nate, and then he was like, "You bastard," and I was like,
Oh.
"You bastard."
Oh.
It looked like he was saying, "I'm better."
I am better.
But yeah, the first one, it's what I said on when we were revisiting that one. It's just that it's focusing on the Iron Man character, at least in the MCU. At his core, this character is about trauma and getting past your trauma, and that's the thing I liked the most about the first Iron Man and the way his performance in that, because you could see that even when like there's that one scene that really, really stands out to me when he's just looking at the news and he's just tightening like his gauntlet thing, and he's testing it out and everything. And it's just like I could see in that character that he's just having flashbacks and thinking like, I have to do something about this, and he throughout the MCU we will see that. And that's where I feel like that part of the character shined a lot more in the first one. This one, we get the incredibly arrogant, like almost comically arrogant Tony Stark, at least at the beginning of it, until he's brought down to Earth, which makes sense for the character still. But I kind of wish they would have gone a slightly different direction with this story and with the character in this movie in particular. And I brought it up last time, and I think this is the best place to bring it up, that I think they had a golden opportunity in this movie to really go deep with this character and go with the storyline that it's not about his, him thinking he's going to die and that's why he's ruining his life. I think it would have been amazing and such a deep and impactful story if they would have gone the route that he's ruining his life because he's an alcoholic. And like, that's where the story went, because in the comics, that's his biggest enemy. It's none of his big villains or his past or anything like that. It's alcoholism. And that's the thing that brings Tony Stark down. And it's his biggest enemy. So I think it would have been so cool to see him try to battle his alcoholism. And then once he realized the moment that he's like, wait, my dad didn't hate me. My dad tried to show that he loved me. And that would have been the moment that he had been like, I have to get my life together. And that's when he decides again to be a hero. I think that would have been so cool, because in this story, we have the villain of Ivan Vanko too. He starts going against Tony, it's in vengeance for his dad's death. He could have done it a lot sooner than that, but he just didn't want to until he realized that his dad's legacy kind of meant nothing and everything. And that's his motivation, because he loved his father. And then with Tony Stark, if we kind of got that, but not. I think it would have been so much powerful if it was a willful choice that like, I have to leave out, I have to get my life together and leave alcohol. Like, that would have been incredibly such a personal story, and humanizing story, instead of, oh, I feel like or he's dying because he put a faulty like element in his like core. Like, it seems like this man's a genius too. You'd think that he would know that might happen before too. So it's like, I just wish they really would have gone that route. And I think that, for me in particular, alcoholism had such a big part in my life too. Not that I was not alcoholic, but it would.
Winston, if you're an alcohol, what kind of alcohol would you be?
I would be.
He'd be a Corona with milk.
Oh.
It's called a white guate. Let me know in the comments if that tastes good.
Somebody's got to try it. Dude, we got to try it now. Jesus.
His last name's Corona, by the way. That's why.
Call of Duty.
I was trying to be personal and like super like vulnerable and everything, and they just like shut it down.
See,
we're here to make a podcast.
Your name isn't personal. All right, let's start there. And
my eyes could not roll harder, Danny.
Shut up. I don't care. Speaking about that, is that we've had those opportunities where Marvel shows you Tony's biggest struggle is alcoholism, but we see that in the What If episodes, so like years down the road, and we see how when he's Iron Man, no matter what's going on in his personal life, when he's Iron Man, that's not the problem anymore. It's only when he's not Iron Man that is a problem. Because as long as he's Iron Man, he has a reason to not go back to that darkness of his. And, I feel like that would have been contradictory to like what Iron Man actually represents for Tony.
I disagree. In Avengers, he is Iron Man, especially at the end of that movie. And in that movie, he goes down and he's like, hey, to Loki, hey, you want a drink? First thing he asks his villain, hey, you want a drink? He is Iron Man in that moment. So it's not the villain. That's just a part of who Tony is. He likes to drink. But they don't view it as anything wrong in the MCU. Like there's literally a fact in here. The part of Tony Stark getting drunk at his birthday party in the film is a homage to the comics where Stark had a recurring problem with alcoholism. Like that's like an Easter egg in MCU. It's never a real impactful thing.
I guess.
And then again, it is Disney, and I understand that's probably really heavy for Disney to handle. But then again, in the MCU, we see a whole bunch of other things that are really big topics that are, have an impact. But we never saw it with Tony Stark, one of arguably the biggest MCU character. And I just think it's a missed opportunity.
Did Disney buy Marvel before this movie was made?
No, this was the first Disney Marvel.
Mm.
This was?
Yes, I believe so. Yep. So yeah, we already ranked Robert Downey Jr. performances. Action sequences. What action sequence are we gonna rank in this one?
So we have the Grand Prix fight, which is,
I think that's the most iconic one out of this movie.
it's got the most iconic shot, but I still think that the whole final fight better, because you get to see Rhodey and Tony fighting together, and you get the freaking laser beam Twisty McGroll, which is also cool.
True.
I'm gonna have to disagree with him because I feel like that the last fighting scene was really dull because it lasted I feel like it lasted a total of 5 minutes. Even at the big boss fight, the one that should be like the scariest part of it all, was finished in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Less than that, bro. Way less than that.
It's interesting. Go for it, Danny.
What makes me laugh is that they use a key part of Disney, the power of friendship. Like, I got you, you got me, I got you.
I didn't even think about that. That's
Disney, you so and so.
Man, I do find it interesting that, like, honestly, probably the drones had more of a I feel like there was more danger with the actual drones than there were with actual Ivan Vanko.
Mhm.
When he showed up, it's just like both times it's like, oh yeah, you might beat me. Nah, just kidding. That's kind of how the fights go with Ivan Vanko. But
Yeah,
I
I
don't
still
know.
think it's better than the Hulk,
Oh yeah,
but it's
I
not.
agree.
It's not as good as the Gulmira fight. Like the Gulmira fight is freaking
Omir fight's awesome.
one of the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah. So which one are we ranking though? Just so we have it on record.
We can do the Grand Prix one. I do think it's more memorable. The laser thing is cool in the final fight,
Yeah.
but the Grand Prix one is more memorable in general.
Mhm.
Yeah. Let's do the Grand Prix. Grand Prix. So it's Ironman.
Well,
1,
hold up.
Gulmira.
Let's talk about this.
Sorry, Disney. There's nothing that the power of
The
friendship can save
Grand
you from.
Prix, what's cool about that fight isn't the actual fight, it's the build-up. Like, it's freaking him with the whips, and then it's Tony putting the suit on. But then the actual fight is, again, like 2 seconds long, and it's like, oh, I got whipped. Oh, I got whipped. Oh, bam. Done.
Which, by the way, it kind of didn't make, like, right when we were watching it together, right when they run into Ivan Vanko, it's like he'd be dead.
Twice. He gets ran over twice.
Yeah. Like that
You
first
can
one. No, that man is dead.
bleeding out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And he has a punctured lung, I'm sure, at that point.
Broken spine. Broken
Yeah, dude.
pelvis.
Yeah.
He was broken
He
in
would
half.
he'd be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life right after that. If not dead.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
I don't know, because we actually do get more fighting in that last fight scene. Like there's more
Yeah,
blowing
true.
up drones and smashing.
There's that one
drones.
with War Machine where he's like shooting the thing and it's like oil everywhere. It's like, oh yeah, I see what you did there, Disney, because you don't want to show blood.
So I don't know. I think I think we should rank the last one.
Okay. Yeah, I still don't think it affects the ranking.
Yeah.
But okay. So what do we call that fight even?
Oh, just like the final Stark Expo fight.
Stark Expo fight. Okay, cool. All right. And talking about that bit, Of course, it has been confirmed by Tom Holland, who plays Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that his character appears in this movie and was the little boy at Stark Expo wearing the Iron Man helmet when the Expo is attacked by Hammer Tech drones. Officially confirmed.
Nice
Peter Parker
little Easter egg.
was there.
Where is Aunt May and Uncle
More
Ben?
on that
We'll
later.
never know.
And May
He
Uncle
was
Ben,
killed by the
his
being-
parents, maybe.
he was killed by the falling glass from
Being
the robots.
bad guardians.
That's exactly yeah. It started
Uncle-
way back then.
I know. Aunt May really does have a what's the word I'm looking for? A pattern of
Yes.
reckless guardianship.
You know what? I'm glad she died. Just kidding. Oh man.
Why did your laugh echo the only time in the room right now?
Okay, so before we get to the after credit scene, we're gonna guess that Rotten Tomato score.
It's the prices. I mean, the Rotten Tomato score is right.
I don't know, man.
79.
I haven't looked at it either, so I'm gonna guess on this one.
So I'm gonna say 70, 73. 73 sounds like a pretty number. 73.
Okay.
74.
All right, you know, I'm gonna go right in the middle of you two. I'm gonna say 76.
Man, I think I'm lowballing it. Guys.
All right, let's look it up.
So 73, 76,
Iron
79.
Man.
It is Rotten Tomato of 72.
Oh,
Danny.
wow. It's
damn.
so low. Man, critics did not like this. Like, it's just a popcorn flick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We did talk about it on the last one though.
It's
That
good
like, at this
popcorn
time,
flick.
at this time, it was so popular for the second movie of any franchise to be garbage.
Mm.
You know, that happened so often back in the day. You know, maybe it was a little bit before this, but like in 2002 to 2000 like 8 to 9.
Before that, bro, from like the 70s on, it was
Really?
terrible to have freaking
I
terrible
guess so,
sequels.
huh? Yeah. Yeah, it's like super popular. So it was like that's when you knew if something was actually going to stick. Because if it was like the first one's good, okay, sweet. And then we're like, no, of course they're going to make a second one. And if the second was good, then you're like, okay,
Yeah, the second one
expect.
was almost always just a cash grab.
Exactly. And then
L-
that's when they
yeah.
stopped it.
Like back then, it wasn't like, oh, we're going to make a second one because we have more to say. It's like, oh, we're going to make a second one because we know people will buy it because they like the first one. And that's the only reason they make the second one.
Exactly. Yep. Okay, I'm going to go through two more marvelous facts here for you guys. According to Jon Favreau, the Asian man who hands Vanko false papers in order to get to Monaco is a member of the Ten Rings, the terrorist organization Stark encountered in the first film. This organization is reportedly headed by Iron Man's nemesis, the Mandarin. Of course, we figure that out later, but it's interesting that the Ten Rings still had something to do with Ivan Vanko getting
And Iron Man.
yeah, having his first encounter with Tony Stark. And the last marvelous fact is when Tony Stark asks Natalie
Portman.
if she actually speaks Latin, she responds in the phrase "Falses sunt rerum species," a quote from Lucio Anno Seneca.
Seneca.
I butchered that name.
I think that was a Roman emperor.
Meaning the appearance of things are deceptive. That's what she said.
Oh, Black Widow, you did it again.
Yep. So those are the end of the marvelous facts. For,
So, but based
for
on the
this movie.
timeline, did she like just do Budapest? Did Budapest like just happen?
I think so. Yeah.
That's cool.
Mhm. Yeah. And in the next movie, we're going to see the other half of the Budapest duo, Hawkeye's and Thor.
Oh yeah, Thor. I forgot. I don't know why I think Cap is the next one.
No, it's not. It's Thor, then Cap.
And then Captain America.
Yeah. But for the last thing to rank, what did you guys think of the end credit scene? Where should we rank the end credit scene in this? Yeah, it's very meh, I think, at least.
It's very 5 out of 10. It's very 4 out of 10.
I'm
I feel
trying
like
to
this is one.
decide if it's better or worse than the first one.
What was the first one again?
Nick Fury at Tony's
Oh, that's
house.
right.
That
Yeah,
one was
What
super
does he
dark.
talk
much
about?
better.
He just says,
I am Iron Man.
oh, that's right. You saw us. Yeah. Yeah.
How do
we
you
did
not remember
that
your
scene a
line,
lot.
Winston? That was your line. Oh, we have to recreate this, dude. We have to go out somewhere and like
No,
bring out.
no.
No, what? Like you have a choice, bro. That's adorable.
You're just gonna go out to some field, and I'm gonna be Coulson or something.
Nah, you're
We'll
gonna
figure
make
it
the
out.
whole. And I'm gonna get a hammer from Home Depot.
Or I could just use my hammer, or I could just use my hammer.
Well, you're gonna wait like 3 minutes, and you're actually gonna see how that scene turned out. So,
Yeah,
It's below. It's at the bottom.
it's
At
like
It's
the
just a
bottom.
hammer. It's just a hammer and Coulson. No new characters. A new prop that isn't that cool,
Yeah, I remember seeing it at the time, and I didn't care about Thor at all. I kind of arguably still don't really care about Thor that much, but yeah, it didn't do anything for me at the time. It kind of doesn't do anything for me now either. Danny, where would you rank it?
what was this? A whole movie or just a?
The end credit scene.
It was like I said, it was like a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, but where would you rank it in the
The
other?
Marvel movies right now.
Yeah, so we have the Iron Man one where it's Nick Fury, and then we have the Hulk where Iron Man walks into a bar and talks to.
It's definitely below that. It's definitely below the Hulk end credit
Okay.
scene.
Okay,
Yeah, it
so you
definitely is
rank-
below the Hulk.
It doesn't even matter what I say, but I agree. So
Well, the
it's
Hulk was
last place.
number 1, and then
The Hulk
Iron
was
Man's
number
number 2. Yeah, dude, check your list.
Check your
I don't have it up.
list.
I don't have it up. Sorry. Anyways,
Yuri?
the time has come, gentlemen. Where are we ranking Iron Man 2 in the MCU?
So it's below Iron Man.
It's right below Iron
So it's
Man.
currently at second place.
Iron Man is in second place. Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk.
No. Iron Man 2, blank,
And then Incredible Hulk.
blank, blank, The Incredible Hulk.
You got to count every single one of them. It had to be right.
Dude, I will
Wait,
add
dude.
blanks in post if I have to.
It's just got blank.
Ladies and gentlemen of the streaming world or whatever, I still have not seen Thor: The Dark World, so I don't even know if that one's worse than
Dude,
Hulk.
that's like 5 movies in the future. Don't
It
even
is.
worry
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
phase 2, bro. It's phase 2. Let's just worry about
Oh, that's
phase 1.
phase
huh?
2?
Yeah.
How's that phase 2?
Because it's after
Because it's after
Avengers.
Avengers.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot.
It's crazy how phases work.
Yeah, I'm thinking like freaking. I'm thinking these
So
are years
you
apart.
are
Sometimes.
going to
Thinking
watch
with
all these movies
portals.
with us, right?
Well, he already missed the Hulk.
Yeah,
So no, did Winston? The answer is no, because he
can't commit
already
to
missed it.
anything.
dude, I missed Iron Man and Hulk.
Yeah, but you've seen
No.
Iron Man.
Yeah, I've seen Hulk too. The only thing that I went for Iron
There's a
Man
Hulk
was
too?
the end credit scene.
You know what's stupid is that everyone's going to hop on board when we get to the end, like the later half of the MCU. Everyone's going to want to watch all those movies.
Will they?
But
Yeah,
I don't
let's do
think they
it.
will. Who?
Eric.
Well, I guess your wife has already started. My wife's seen all of them too, so.
I don't think Kayla really cares that much.
The
She'll
only
be
anyways,
movie that
she'll
I've
be in the
ever
movies
missed
that she
is
likes.
Yeah. Well, Danny,
Huh.
what's going to be the next movie that's going to be revisited?
Thor.
Thor. That's it. That's the perfect way to
Thor.
say Thor.
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 I'm not very enthusiastic about
Yeah,
Thor.
I don't think any
Thor's
of us are
not that
excited.
bad.
It's not bad, but it's just
It's
kind
not
of
bad.
of what I
It's-
remember. It's kind of boring, but we will see. We will see
Yeah.
how this movie ranks up. But until then, thank you for joining us and watching us talk about all these dumb things about how Danny's always late and never commits to anything. But talk about that in the comments. Leave us a
How much?
like, subscribe.
How
Danny
much you want
sucks.
that
Drop a
to be
line.
an hour early
Freaking
next time?
vindicate me with these armors. I live with freaking hacks.
And tell Nate that.
Bye.
Have a marvelous day.
I want my